Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with comic Bonnie Q. Harris. Bonnie Q, how the hell are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, good. Thank you so much for coming in. And where can people find you do stand-up comedy live in New York City, and where can they find you online?
I'd say as far as live, I do a lot in and around Manhattan. I have
cool.
a two-person show with my mom called Mommy Dearest and
What
Me.
the hell is that? That's the best idea. Was she a stand-up?
She is a comedian. Yeah, I grew up with a comedian for a mom instead of, a real mom. So
And you actually became a comedian. Is that rare?
Yes.
Wow.
It's so great. We just had a show last night. We do a lot of celebrity impersonation, stand-up, improv, sketch. And it's great. I love when people ask if that's my real mom. It's like, no, it's a friend. I asked to be my mom.
I did a casting call for my mother.
Exactly. She looks just like me. It's great. We joke around. We pull up some people from the audience.
What are her, does she have celebrity impressions that are dated, or can she keep improving her roster?
Well, I like that she does the older people. She'll do like Joan Rivers, Joan Crawford, Katharine Hepburn.
Just
and then
timeless, yeah.
I'll do the cool ones. Ariana Grande, Cardi B, Melissa Villasenor.
So you guys, pretty much between the two of you, everybody in the audience is going to get a celebrity impression that they know.
Exactly.
Okay, wow.
I'm always surprised when people my age know like Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah.
Because I grew up knowing who like Jerry Lewis was, and
wow. Yeah, I'm looking at her like I have no idea who that is. Just kidding. But but also if it's funny enough, meaning if the voice is funny enough or the content of it, it wouldn't matter too much if the person knows or not who Katharine Hepburn is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we play on that. Like Katharine Hepburn, I come in as Sebastian Maniscalco. And then Katharine Hepburn sort of has a crush on Sebastian, so that's fun to play with.
That's like one of the more interesting shows that I've ever heard, because it's like I would love to see interplay between Sebastian Maniscalco and any Hepburn at all, or even any classic character.
It gets pretty hot in there. No.
Yeah. Oh my Lord. And so kind of how long's that show been running, and where can they see it? Like how often is it?
First we worked on it in Jersey, but I always try. That's where I grew up. But I always try to pull my mom into New York, and we had our first run at the People's Improv Theater, and that was back in 2019, and then we got our second run, and we just did our show last night for it, but we have one Thursday, February 20th, 7 p.m. at the People's Improv Theater, and then...
And where is that?
It's, 24th and Lex in Manhattan,
cool.
Right by that... Was it Gramercy?
Yeah.
Area?
Oh, the beautiful park that nobody can get into?
Exactly.
Yeah, I just saw that Jim Parsons dude. Do you have an impression of him? Like, I saw him on the street. Like, I don't even watch any of his shows. I think he's Big Bang Theory. Mm-hmm. And I thought I saw him, and it was good. And I saw him and the guy he was with. And so I went home, and I was like, who's he dating? He's married to a dude, and he looked just like him. And also, they were right by Gramercy Park where he lives. And I'm like, yeah, that's who lives in Gramercy Park.
Exactly.
It's like there's a tiny, beautiful park that nobody has a key to, except the people who live around it, like Jim Parsons. And so your People's Improv Theater is near there.
Yeah, it's right near there. I went to Baruch for grad school, Baruch College, and it's right next to it.
Oh, cool.
And we have another one Thursday, March 26th at 7. And we're looking for, new venues for it. We think it's very compatible. It is sort of family-friendly. It's like PG-13, I'd say.
So you could do it anywhere.
We really could, and we're looking for places, especially where people will definitely appreciate all the impersonations.
Yeah.
Because it's not just stand-up, and it's not just sketch. It's improv, and it's playing with people. You have to have a fun audience.
Yeah.
Because we're fun.
Yeah, so I would almost think like a smaller room, like, QED where we're at has just diversity of programming where I think they would appreciate it. But I would almost think that your room needs to be large because it's it must be a standing room only show. Like, it must be a theater, like a small theater show, right? Like, because, you guys, that sounds like just something that I want to see.
We both come from performative backgrounds, so it's a very theatrical. That's why I think, Mommy Dearest and Me is such a good name for it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because Mommy Dearest was probably one of those older movies. I think I remember the title.
Joan Crawford.
Oh, Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford. Okay, so now some of the things that you're doing on stage, and they can find these shows at bonnieq.com.
Yes.
Okay.
That is my website. I also have, I think I keep my Instagram the most updated. That's BonnieQ52.
Yeah, I see a lot of theater pictures. I was like, I think she has a theater background, but that's probably you at the People's Improv Theater with your mom, maybe.
I also went to NYU, but I don't like to talk about it. And on Twitter at I love Bonnie Q. I came up with that when I was much younger, but now I kind of like it because when people mention me, it's like, oh, you love me?
I love Bonnie Q. Anytime you're tagging me, you're showing your love for me. I love it. Now, now are you also doing stand-up independently as your own show?
Yes, okay. I have a monthly stand-up show I host and produce, and because my middle name is just the letter Q, it's called That's My Q.
Oh, cool. And is there stuff like that? Like, are you also working that into the format of the show where people are asking questions? Like, That's My Q would seem to imply Q for question. Like, I know it's your name as well, but like there might be a couple meanings to it. So what's the format of your show, and who are you getting? Like other impressionists?
I would love to more in the future. I've worked with a couple on like videos and shows.
Oh, good.
Like if we talk about Saw in the future, in the future meaning 5 minutes. But for that one, I try to do just regular stand-up. I'd love to see more music and stuff incorporated with that. But yeah, I've got some interesting people coming on, some friends from the People's Improv Theater, some that I've seen in shows, and I'd like to be on their shows, so why not put them on my show first?
Yeah, and I think there was I think my roommate said she went to a rock and roll comedy show here at QED, and so I know that QED does have some of those musicians, and in case you need to recruit for your variety show.
That's great.
It would be like a variety show. You have interest in making it more than just a straight stand-up show?
Because, stand-up's great, but, after the 20th comedian talking about Tinder, you're like, all right, I want to hear a song about that now.
Yeah, oh, that's funny. I would like a song about Tinder. Now, what are how are you working in your impressions to your stand-up act? And I know it, or just I guess you're doing it with your mom as well. Like, are they shouting out? Like, how would you get into the Maniscalco situation? And let's hear that impression. Like, it's mostly it's pretty physical, right? We don't have video on you though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She has to gesture, so she's moving back.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to bang into nothing.
There you go.
That's not the full one of it.
That's pretty good.
Oh, also That's My Cue. Our upcoming one is Sunday, February 9th.
Okay.
At Terra Rose, which is in Murray Hill.
Oh, cool.
Great lineup for that. I was kind of doing an anti-Valentine's Day theme, but then it got really weird. It's like asking all these comedians, like, you're single, right?
Oh, no.
Not a personal question. Business. Strictly business. Will you date me? No. I would never date a comedian. I learned from Ariana Grande's mistake.
Yeah. Or just don't date Pete Davidson.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I am brunette, so it will happen.
Yeah, and you're in comedy, and I was thinking if you did a Pete Davidson impression.
A friend of mine does, and I did Ariana while he did Pete.
Oh no, that got awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how would somebody toss out Sebastian Maniscalco, or is that something you would insert because you have an impression of it?
So for Mommy Dearest and Me, we do more of a sketch format where I come out first as Ariana Grande, and then I introduce it as her talk show called Grande Deal.
Oh, nice.
And she just kind of, like, I'm pimping my mom out a little, because I'm like, our first guest is Cher, our second guest, Bernadette Peters, and my mom comes out and does all that.
Oh, that's great.
Then we switch where she's Katharine Hepburn.
Oh, cool.
And it's her talk show called Sick Burn with Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah, that's perfect. Like, if she lived today, it would have a name like that.
Yes.
Sick
if my
Burn.
mom or Katharine, no.
But that's cool. And then, so you would do your impressions, and would Sebastian Maniscalco be one of them?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So first I come out Cardi B. And then it's funny because you see that Catherine's like, I don't get it. And then Melissa Villasenor, who's probably my favorite person to impersonate right now. And I like that she does impersonations because I can fit my own Wilson in it and Billie Eilish. And then the third one is Sebastian.
Okay.
So for that one, if you want me to
Please do any or all.
So Katharine Hepburn says, my next guest is Italian and thinks he's hotter than Sean Connery in a Speedo. Ladies and gentlemen, Sebastian Maniscalco. And then I come out, and I'm like, hey folks, how you doing? It's me, Sebastian Maniscalco. I'm actually 100% Italian. I was born in Little Italy. And then I talk about how...
First, that's amazing. And I hate how he leans into it so fucking hard.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're not even caricature. You're not turning him into a caricature. It's a straight fucking impression.
Yeah.
Because he leans too heavily into it now. Mm-hmm. But that is perfect.
Thank you.
And he's probably not. He's from fucking like... I'm from Chicagoland too, and so saying you're from Chicago is something you could do while you're in New York City. But if you're like, I was in Arlington Heights, it's just he wasn't from the main streets of Chicago. I mean, Arlington Heights is just white bread suburbia, I think.
Exactly. And funny. I like to say, even though I don't even eat in Little Italy, I'm always down if someone wants to pull thing.
He says it wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
What the? How did? First of all, that you nailed it because you didn't say Chipotle. You said Chipotle. Chipotle. What the fuck is his problem? Why does he do that?
It's a rebrand, maybe. I don't know.
I love this Chipotle.
Chipotle.
He does 15
like
minutes.
This
yeah.
kind of thing.
Oh, it's so hilarious, but it's like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, he's trying to. I mean, I guess I'm more likely to talk about it, but it was such a great bit on its own that he could have pronounced it correctly and it would have been just as funny. I mean, do you think he knew it was pronounced incorrectly? Like, saying it 4,000 times on the road, you would think that he would have said it correctly.
I wish he would have practiced that and maybe his hosting at the VMAs a little more. I don't know anyone who would come out with an audience of millennials and just be like, my mom's cooking zucchini. Like, who cares? You know?
And I mean, it was funny because they had smoke, and I think it was an impression game where, I mean, like, meaning that I had low expectations because everybody was trashing it. Mm-hmm. And so when I finally fired it up, I was like, oh, that's not too bad. I don't care. I mean, of course, the audience probably didn't like it. And so, so what are some of the other ones? So, Melissa Villasenor, she was on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, which I liked because Jerry has one certain comic sensibility that I wouldn't think would overlap with an impressionist. But she's good on SNL. But then you see her on YouTube, and she's doing impressions, which are cool, but it's like some of them are dated by now. Mm-hmm. And so how do you kind of, so do some Melissa Villasenor and try to explain how the fuck you're going to nail an impression, and then in 20 years, if Melissa Villasenor is no longer in the public eye, like, what are you going to do? Are you just going to kind of turn it into a character instead of an impression?
That is an interesting character. Yeah. It's such an interesting voice she has, but I kind of joke about the way she talks, because as soon as I start talking as her, my mom is Katharine Hepburn, is like plugging her ears.
Oh, cool.
So I'll come out and like I'll be her, which is a little, stiff and uncomfortable.
Very small, yeah.
And it goes with the voice. She's like, hey guys, it's Melissa Villasenor, and I'm so happy to be here. And then her laugh is really killer. She's like, and then I joke that, Katharine Hepburn will say, it sounds like you have a frog stuck in your throat. And then Melissa goes, that's actually very interesting because my mom is Sofia Vergara and my dad's Kermit the Frog. So don't say it sounds like I have a frog in my throat because that's incest.
That's actually good, though.
Thank you.
Meaning, like, that's a solid joke. That's your joke, because it's a hilarious joke being told, like, and you couldn't tell that joke any other way.
Yeah.
Like, like Kermit the Frog, like sucking off the Kermit the Frog, like that doesn't make sense.
Well, when you put it like that.
Yeah. Wow. But it's almost family friendly when it's through that lens. And
yeah.
Do you tell that joke in a PG-13 show?
I would tell any joke anywhere, as long as I can plug my Instagram afterwards.
Yeah. Oh my Lord. And see, what's like, how would Billie Eilish even sound? Like, I haven't heard her talk. I try to avoid some of these people talk.
I'm working on a longer version, but for that, it's really just the thing from Bad Guy where she goes, duh. The very, like, it's way more the face.
Yeah.
And some people, when I straighten my hair, they say, well, this one bartender gave me a free drink, and he's like, yeah, you kind of look like Billie Eilish. So I don't know if he said I was cute or I looked 18. So either way, I'm taking that.
Yeah, he's like, you're taking the drink, and he's turned on. You just don't know if he's a creep or not. Right?
Exactly. And so then I reported him.
I took the drink, I dated him, and then when we broke up, I reported him.
Yeah, it was Pete Davidson.
So what are some of the other impressions that you do that somebody like me would know? So I guess I'm talking
Owen Wilson.
Yeah, so but that's that, and I guess the question is, when you have an impression, like your voice is one way where it lends itself to certain impressions. And so I would think that you can do all the same impressions that Melissa Villasenor does, including Owen Wilson. So do you do Owen Wilson as Melissa, and is there a difference? Because that's one of her famous ones, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think hers is so close to Owen Wilson that I don't have to separate the two. But I do a stupid little joke where, I can be Owen Wilson and then Owen Wilson's cat. Oh. So Owen Wilson, wow. Owen Wilson's cat, meow. It's the same kind of sound to it.
And you could also like do a thing where, am I Owen Wilson or am I Melissa Villasenor doing Owen Wilson, and just kind of play off.
That's like a great think piece.
Yeah, oh, is it me or is it Melissa? So that's so funny. And then,
wow.
Do you find yourself looking at impressionists who do some of the same characters that you do, like a Melissa Villasenor, and saying, okay, well, she does Sotomayor, like she does the Supreme Court Justice, maybe I should try that too. Like, is it giving you ideas for other things to do? And is there any other impressionists like that? Like Dana Carvey used to do a series of voices that I could also kind of do, and it led me, oh, well, he does Ross Perot and I can too, or he does George Bush and I can too. Is there any kind of tips you're taking from these people and trying new characters as a result?
I definitely want to look into more of what my impressions, like what they do. That is a really great idea. I've been kind of in the same circle of people. Like, I found out I can impersonate a lot of Jewish men.
Okay.
Which is great because I like to think that any impersonation I do is sort of like an identity. You know, because I see myself as, you know, if I'm uncomfortable or whatever, Melissa Villasenor. If I'm, like, blackout drunk, that's Sebastian. Not that I'm ever. I think my mom's listening. No, but, well, she's the one who would encourage me to do that.
We got to get your mom on here. I don't know why she didn't. Yeah, we should have brought her today.
She had to drive my sister back to college.
Oh, my Lord.
Boo.
Like, that's important.
Yeah, really.
She's prioritizing her children. Doesn't she care about your career? Yeah, and so, like, you would look at some of the things that other people were doing, and then if it gets too dated, that's what I was thinking, like that's when I would just do a straight character, and then at the end say, oh, that kind of sounded like this person. Because when it gets too dated, you feel like, oh, I shouldn't be doing Melissa Villasenor if she's no longer in the public eye.
Yeah, when I was in college, my big claim to fame, I guess, was doing Adam Sandler, the impression.
Okay.
And
how does that sound nowadays?
Well, it's actually
Uncut
great
Gems,
because that's what made me so happy, like seeing him back in the mainstream for Uncut Gems and stuff. I love Adam Sandler so much. But when I did this Saw kind of a sketch show, I did a video where it was like the SNL style auditions where they have all the people do the celebrities. I did my own, and then one of them was Adam Sandler, and then auditioning for Saw, and he had the guitar. This is me doing it, and I would say, put down the chain, Sonica, let's celebrate Hanukkah. Tell your friend Veronica, she's not going to make it.
I do love, like, them. So they were auditioning for Saw, and I could also see those characters, being threatened by Saw. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
they wake up and they're chained from the thing, and I guess that's the part they would be auditioning for. So that's great, finding a way to, and auditioning is a nice way to get all those characters in.
Exactly. Right. And they have something to always joke about. Like, sometimes people don't want to hear me do Woody Allen, but if he's in a Saw trap, they're like, okay, I'll sit through that.
Yeah, and so how do you write that stuff? Because it's just, the incest joke via Kermit the Frog is hilarious. And I mean, and are you looking like, okay, I found a piece of comedy, and like I read an article where you should separate your creative from your critical process. That way everything just flows, and later on when you have your critical hat on, you can decide what's shit, what's good, and what should go where. And I would think that, like, an incest joke, you're like, well, I want to get that in. How the fuck do I do it? Via Kermit the Frog. So kind of what's your writing process as an impressionist, and how do you think it would differ from somebody who's a straight stand-up?
I like playing on things that people exaggerate a lot. Like when I do Ariana Grande, I was actually recently on the Chris Gethard show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, as Ariana Grande.
Yeah, I think I saw that on Instagram, right?
Oh, good. Yeah. Yes. I poured seltzer into a guy's mouth. That was interesting. Chris Gethard's like, I like that. I'm like, what about my impression? I straightened my hair for this. But for that, I kind of think of what's timely. I'm always changing material. So Ariana Grande had this Christmas album that she did before, but then we know that she's single, but she talks about guys a lot.
Yeah.
And so I thought, what if she had like a thirsty Christmas album? You know what thirsty means?
It means you just really are horny for a dude.
Exactly.
Or something? So she'd be thirsty for Santa Claus or what?
Kind of, because I did a couple parodies of her songs that made it more, I guess, thirsty? Holiday friendly.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, break up with Mrs. Claus 'cause I'm bored, instead of...
Yeah.
And then...
That's cool. That's pretty much how she does dating, too. She gets bored.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm bored now. Let me go get a Pete Davidson, and then it'll be something to talk about. Now I'm bored again. That's so great.
Yeah, and then I really liked singing, what was it? Santa, come tie me up, and I'll let Rudolph watch it. It's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, he's so out of my league.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
With the red nose would show the way. Rudolph watching, that's hilarious. And so, like, do you sit down and, is it the impression first or the material first when you're writing?
I do like to, my poor neighbors, but I love to just go on rants and just, even if I'm brushing my teeth or looking in the mirror, I like to be Sebastian when I look in the mirror.
I love that.
And then I can, find something about it that somehow I can work into that's more relatable.
I'm brushing my teeth. Yeah. How would Sebastian brush his teeth?
I'm not really a Colgate guy, but, I gotta do it. My daughter's name is, was it Serafina? But if we get the promotion, it'll be Sugarfina, But that's gotta lead to some cavities, which won't be good.
I love that because you're like, yeah, growing up, my toothpaste would be Crest. And so that's just so funny that you can think of that bit while you're doing, and I guess that's a time to do it. They say a lot of inspiration hits when you're doing something mindless, like being in the shower or brushing your teeth.
Yeah, I don't know why people go to Starbucks. I would just stay in my shower.
Yeah, I mean, and you'd be you're just so clean. Even right now, I could smell the cleanness radiating off of you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, so if they want to see Mommy Dearest and me, and they want to see all your impressions, are you Bonnie Q across all social platforms?
My website definitely has all of it on it, and that's bonnieq.com, BONNIEQ.com, and Instagram, BonnieQ52, Twitter, I love BonnieQ.
Yeah.
And as far as shows, Mommy Dearest, we got 2 more shows coming up. That's My Q, the stand-up show. And
where's the stand-up show? Is that Tara Rose?
Tara Rose. Okay. It's 384 3rd Avenue in Murray Hill. It's really
That's
cute.
Upper East Side?
It's
Where's Murray
Hill?
It's
near Gramercy. It's like the one above it, Kips Bay, Gramercy area. Like was it 28th and 3rd?
Oh, okay.
And it's really great. It's in the little speakeasy downstairs. It's adorable. Really glad to have found that place.
And are you kind of hosting? You're hosting and booking, and so are you working in your celebrity impressions in between other comics?
I try to, yes.
Because they probably mention somebody that they probably don't even have an impression of somebody that they mention, and you just bust one out.
Mm-hmm. And even I give, because I have a work husband that I am extremely devoted to, even though he's engaged and not attracted to women, but so I use him. He's the greatest excuse. If a guy's hitting on me, I'll be like, I have a work husband, like I can't. But I'll even work in my Australian accent, which I like, and, act as if I am my own work husband.
Okay, let me hear the Australian, because recently Chris D'Elia did that. He just did it. He was on Comedians.
He's such a great Australian.
But it's just like, I think he had such a high standard in his specials that when he did Comedians of the World, it just felt like a little bit of a letdown because it was pretty much all that Australian accent. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, I mean, I thought it was funny the first 5 seconds, but I don't know that it could hold up the 30 minutes because he was going up against some of the, like Mae Martin and some of these other people from, Canada or Great Britain or whatever. I guess it's England. I don't even know what the fuck it's called now. Or Brexit or whatever the fuck it's called.
That place.
Yeah, that place, that island, that's just super small, and I don't know how it got so important.
And British.
And I just watched all Fleabag recently, but
oh, cool.
But like his thing didn't really stand up, and so I want to hear an Australian accent that gives me hope. Hope again in Australia.
I'll tell you what gave me the biggest hope. I guess I'll do it in Australian. My word to get into it is Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, because you get that, and then your tongue is in the back of your throat, and then you can talk like that. So for New Year's, I went to this restaurant, and the host was Australian. So I asked him if this was a good Australian, and he said yes. And it was amazing. It was so great.
Oh, that's amazing.
And he
so
said
good.
The difference between Australian and New Zealand, Australian stretches it out and is a little pointier, and it's a little more exaggerated, and then New Zealand's a little more deeper, and it's a little less cartoonish.
It's a depressed Australian, and she's an impressionist when she starts talking about my hook is Jesus Christ. That gets me into the impression, but also something is a little bit pointier.
Yeah, I was like, how do I say it? It like hits it higher. No one can see me point up.
Yeah, and tongue in the back of the mouth or something like that.
In the back of the throat. Throat's a good one. Engaged, like things like that.
And so, is there kind of other masters of the craft like, people on Saturday Night? I guess Daryl Hammond would be one.
Mm-hmm.
An impressionist or Carvey. Have you watched any kind of their old interviews to see if they had any tips for where everything goes in your mouth and pointy versus hook and things like that?
Not too much, but I definitely love Melissa just kills it when it comes to impressions. And I liked when on YouTube where she would dress like Owen Wilson and do these like writing out my day kind of thing. And you see how they look. Like when she did Gwen Stefani, it was like, oh, and then she looked like this. And then she went over there and she had the very thin eyebrows, like that kind of thing. And I love that she even impersonates Tekashi.
Yeah, how do you do that? How do you do that?
I love that
you just do a lot of screaming, right?
Yeah, and then she looked like him, but I love how it didn't really sound like him. And I feel like that kind of happens on SNL a little bit, where it's like you look like the person, doesn't really matter.
Did she just pop into a sketch?
Yeah, she was on the side. She was like, "Bitch, I'm stupid." I was like, "Yeah, maybe he should stay in jail." So.
Yeah, because nobody knows how he talks anyway, so it's just cool to keep her voice. And so, if I also follow you on, and I do follow you on Twitter, and it's I love Bonnie Q. Are you going to is some of your videos of these impressions going to make their way into your shorter Instagram videos
that
are then
going
to be shown on Twitter?
Okay. I'm working on that. I'm working on posting more videos on Instagram, and it's great because I'm kind of a perfectionist where I want something that is just like that SNL audition video where it's like perfectly edited. But then I realized, I saw this thing where this guy just went to an open mic completely as Adam Driver. And then that, I just loved it so much. So it's kind of like you just have to go for it. Even if you're Sebastian talking about toothpaste, just do it. Just put more stuff out there. I get intimidated because this guy gets so many likes, and I do a better Larry David.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just got to go out there and do it more and be more obnoxious because my coworkers, they are tired of hearing it.
Yeah, but and so recently we had on Gabe Malika, and he just recently did this popular. It was his first front-facing, into the camera sort of thing that he did, and he said it was pretty popular for him. And it was him doing the lines of every boyfriend in Devil Wears Prada, and then he just kind of riffed on it and things like that. And he said it got a lot of engagement. And I would think that if I saw on I Love Bonnie Q, it's an Instagram video of sorts that was described as Sebastian Maniscalco brushing his teeth, I would have to fire it up, and I fire nothing up. And so that description.
You could be my manager.
Oh, good,
honestly.
Good. I'm a former lawyer. I probably know something. But I mean, have you ever thought? I mean, that could just be the thing that catapults you to the very next level. It's just having those descriptive things with short videos because you're so good at them. They just have to click on it.
And just keeping a list of what's happening now. It's like Adam Sandler with Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
I should be doing videos of him maybe reacting to getting Oscars snubbed or Larry David on the cover of GQ.
Yeah.
Like I heard that he kind of, he wore his style on it. And
do you have a Larry David?
Yeah, I would consider it pretty good. Pretty good.
And then if I were to see you do Mommy Dearest, what is it, Mommy Dearest and Me? That's at...
The People's Improv Theater.
People's Improv Theater, and that's near Gramercy Park.
Yeah, it's 123 East 24th Street.
Okay, and I can find all these things at I Love Bonnie Q or BonnieQ.com.
Yes.
And I'm going to do that. And I really hope I see your Sebastian Maniscalco brushing his teeth because your content. And also
I got it because of you now.
Yeah, but also the Kermit incest joke. I mean, how the fuck does anybody else put that material in but for an impression?
Yeah.
And your mom is right there just looking on with pride.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Thank you so much, Bonnie Q.
Of course. Thank you.